No, actually, one of the things that I'll be doing after you guys get going is I'm going to turn off my video and my audio so that I can take pictures if need be, if I
Pam,
find
you
something interesting.
You actually are freezing seconds, like you're frozen now.
Am I frozen for everybody?
No.
No. Donna says no. No. So Colleen, it may be freezing on your end for some reason. Yeah. So yeah, that's just the limitations. Every so often someone may freeze. We're just gonna keep on going. The main thing that we want to make sure who doesn't freeze is Miss Terry Lynn, and more importantly, Miss Terry Lynn's demo. That's the most important screen of all of these. So before I actually really officially open, is Miss Linda around, Nancy? I don't want her to miss anything. Is she dressed? Is she coming? She's calling. She's calling. Okay, well, Linda knows me well, and so does Nancy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get going a little bit. Oh, did you want to say something?
Don't wait on her. She'll be here in a minute.
She'll be coming. Okay. All right. Thank you. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody. I think everybody I have met. Gay, I haven't seen you you took our fluid art class, I think, a while ago. Yes,
I did.
Okay. So I've met you. I think Donna Mann is the only person who is new, but now after today, Donna, you're not going to be new anymore. You are one of us. So, but welcome to everybody, and thank you all for taking this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I obviously set in on Terry Lynn's other introduction to watercolor class that we offered. When was that, Terry Lynn? It was a few months ago.
Yeah, I was in Maine, so
yeah,
August?
Yeah, it was a while ago, but we had a wonderful time, and I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful time with this one as well. For those of you who don't know Terry Lynn, Terry Lynn can wave. Terry Lynn is up in my upper left-hand corner. I'm not sure where she is on yours. And she's obviously going to be teaching the class. You guys all know me, so I don't really have to introduce myself, I don't think. Donna M. If we have two Donnas on this call, so if I keep saying Donna M or Donna L, but Donna M, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. But everybody else knows me and knows about the studio. Are you, Donna M, are you familiar with where Purple Crayon is, and have you heard anything about it?
Are you on Merriman in Woodfin?
Yeah, we're up. Yes, we've moved from our initial place. We now are up in Riverside. No, not Riverside. What's it called? Reynolds Village.
Reynolds Village.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're a little bit further up, but just straight up Merriman. So hopefully once COVID is over, or at least under control, and we have some classes back in person again, you can come on up and take a visit and see the studio. So
yeah, I'm in Weaverville, so I used to drive past your studio quite a bit to go to the Y.
Okay, yes, we're right by the Y. So yes, so maybe we'll get to meet in person hopefully soon. So thank you. And welcome, Miss Linda. I see you taking a seat. Good morning. So before we get started, I want to does everyone, is everyone familiar with going back and forth between the gallery view and the speaker view? Because that's going to be important in just a minute. And let me put it a different way. Does anyone not know how to do that? So the gallery view is when we can see everybody all at once. Gay is waving her hand. Are you not familiar with that, Gay, how to do this?
No.
That is okay, honey. No, and it's a good review for everybody. So somewhere on your screen, there should be an icon that probably says, well, first of all, are you seeing a whole bunch of people, all of us on the screen right now? Are you seeing?
I'm seeing about 6.
Okay.
What
but
are you on?
What's that, Terry?
Are you on an iPad?
No.
Or a laptop?
I'm on a laptop.
Yeah, so you're probably in gallery view, is my guess. Am I big on your screen, or am I just?
No, you're big. You're the big.
Oh no, you're in speaker view then.
I got little ones across the top.
Okay, honey, so you're in speaker view, and most of the time that's what you're going to want to be in. But I also want you to be familiar with gallery view. So somewhere on your screen should be a little icon probably that has, I I don't know what yours is gonna look like. It'll say, it might say gallery view. It might have pictures of, you
I got it. Yep.
So you can go back and forth between that. Most of the time I will be highlighting Terry Lynn's demo because that's what's the most important thing for you guys to be following. But if you want to go back and see everybody instead of just the demo area, just go back, toggle back and forth between those two views and then they'll come back up.
Okay.
Let's see, what else do I need to let you guys know before we get started?
Maybe how to pin the speaker.
I'm actually going to take care of that for you because I'll be pinning basically. It's spotlighting Terry Lynn's demo. So I'll be controlling that. But again, if you don't want to see Terry Lynn's demo for whatever reason, you can always go back to the other view and you'll see everybody's instead of just that. Let's see, any questions technology wise or logistics wise for me before I turn it over to Terry Lynn? Okay, so did you have a question, Terry Lynn, or did you have a comment?
You were going to have people introduce.
Yes, yeah, I'm going to do that in just 1 second. I do want to let people know that I will always be here throughout the entire class. I am going to turn, in just a few minutes, I'm going to turn off my video and my audio so you won't hear or see me, but trust that I'm here. The reason I'm doing that is because occasionally I do like to take pictures. The classes we're going through and it looks really weird, me taking a picture of me taking a picture. So I don't like me to show up that way, but do know if you have any problems at all, you are always welcome to ask me because I will be here. Also, you are welcome to keep your audio and or video on or off, depending on what you like. If you prefer we don't see you, that's totally fine. If you've got noise going on in your background and in your world, wherever you are, and you want to turn that off, you are welcome to do that. Just remember that if you start talking and no one responds to you, it's probably because we can't hear you. We're not trying to be rude and ignore you. So make sure that your audio is on in that instance. Okay, anyone has to go to the bathroom, get something to eat, feel free. You don't have to interrupt the class. You just go and do it. Yeah, see, Terry Lynn just walked off. I think she actually, or you're just teasing. Okay. I thought maybe you actually did have to go to the bathroom. I don't know.
I take care of that before this.
Okay. So Terry Lynn is going to, I think, Terry Lynn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, say whatever you want, and then we're going to go around the room. I'm actually going to control who's spotlighted and call you guys out, but I want Terry Lynn to at least say hello and welcome you herself as well. So, all right, my friend, I'm going to spotlight you. There you go.
Hello, my name is Terry Lynn DeBroy. I am originally from Maine. I've been down here about 3 years because back in that time, my older daughter moved down here with my 3-year-old grandson, and my younger daughter in Maine with my granddaughter. She's already going to school. She was busy, so I came down here. Really enjoy it. I worked for a couple of years at a local winery, which was kind of fun. Met a lot of great people that way. I am in Asheville Gallery of Art. That's a gallery downtown. My background is I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and I have a number of master level courses. And I have taught for over 30 years, anywhere from first grade all the way up through adults, mostly focusing on adults and high school students. And I kept my hand in a number of different media, all of that time, because teaching school, I wanted to expose my students to the variety of that. Nice thing about working in other media too is that sometimes you feel you're not necessarily happening, but you feel like you're getting stuck in one media, and going somewhere else, it accesses some different creative areas in your brain, and it can push you and expand your abilities to create. Since here, let's see, I am teaching now via Zoom with Pam. I do my own classes for various pastel societies. My last one had people from Maine to Florida to California and Great Britain. So that was kind of fun too. Mm-hmm. And what was I going to say? There's something else I wanted to share. But right now my passion is pastels, which is what people call chalk, but it's not. It's pure pigment with the least amount of binder in it. And of course, my website, you can check that out. And if you have any questions, do email me. thought there was something else. Oh, I speak other languages. Je parle français and hablo español. If you have any questions in those things as well, because I've traveled extensively through South America and Europe, which I want to do again. I can't wait.
And one day you shall.
Yes, I shall. When I'm teaching at the art museum now too, so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You want to tell your website so we can see what classes you're teaching?
It's travelingartista.com.
There,
Yeah,
see.
Just like your, at the end of her email.
Yeah,
Like
Okay.
her email address. Yeah, good
That was
question.
smart.
yeah, it's
All
my
right.
email address. It's my YouTube channel. I put it in the chat. Everything ties into that because somebody told me years ago, nobody can say or spell your name. You might as well come up with something.
That's
So
probably true. All right. So Terry Lynn, what should we have these lovely ladies share with each other and with you as we get started? Will we go around?
Right, just a quick little background, maybe if you're from somewhere different, maybe what your background is, what your interest in art or this watercolor course is, and what other art you might do. Something simple and nice.
That sounds wonderful.
Kitty.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and if in your kitty's name, if you have one, and if you would just be cognizant of the time and maybe keep it to maybe a minute or two, just so it doesn't take up too long. But I have found that this is really important, especially for these online classes, that we get to know each other a little bit, or at least say something so we feel more like we're in class together, which I think is important. That's why some of you guys are taking this, I think. So, all right, I'm gonna start with Miss Gay. Are you ready to chat a little bit with us? All right.
My name is Gay Deemer. I've lived in the Asheville area for about 8 years now. My favorite art outlet is making art quilts, but I started doing watercolors about 15 years ago when I lived in Nebraska, and there is nothing to do in Nebraska. So I had a wonderful teacher there. I had a great time learning it, and it's not anything I'm ever going to be all that good at, but I just like doing it. And I love my 2 dogs, Gus and Zena. So this just seemed like a fun class to take.
Wonderful. Might Gus and Zena be visiting us at some point?
No.
Okay.
So
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Thanks, Ms. Gay. Ms. Donna Mann, I see you have a buddy there too. Oh, I think just so you know, you're muted right now in case you're. Let's
Okay,
see. There she
yeah.
goes. All right, honey.
This is my model for my project. This is Sid Crosby. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. My husband and I moved here to Weaverville about 3 years ago. I'm a retired social worker. He's a retired physician. I have artists on both sides of my family, but I don't think I got the gene. But while we're all stuck at home and can't really go out and do too much, I've been trying to do some self-improvement. So I started online piano in July. And I'm learning German because my son is marrying an Austrian woman. So I can say, Ich bin die Mutter des Bräutigams, which means I am the mother of the bridegroom.
Aha, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Her parents don't really speak much English, so I'm going to try to relate that way. And what else? I turned my garage into a cafe so my friends could come over.
Oh, cool.
But it's still pretty cold even with the space heaters.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to have some fun things to do over the winter. And I've always loved watercolor. I've seen Terry Lynn's watercolor down at the gallery and, thought I would give it a shot.
Absolutely. And I bet you're more creative than you give yourself credit for. And we're going to see that today.
Oh, great.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Donna. Miss Colleen, I caught you while you're drinking, but you're next on my line. Okay.
Yeah, excuse my hair. Slept wrong. Okay, my name is Colleen Finnegan, and I was born in Michigan, near Detroit. And both my parents are artists. I grew up with my dad having an art store. I have an undergraduate degree in art, art education. And then my other degrees are all in special ed and different forms of special ed. I spent 50 years teaching, 25 years with kids and 25 years training people to be teachers. And before COVID, I was substitute teaching mostly in art and music. I have a doggie named Annie who does not like to come upstairs for some reason, but this is her picture. And my dog, Zeus, died in June. And so I adopted Annie. She's 8 and she's just a marvelous little animal. She runs the house. She keeps me busy. She makes me play with her several times a day. She likes to cuddle in bed. She's still a bed hog though. But anyway, my art background other than that is that I didn't have a lot of time to do my own art when I was teaching, except if I were teaching art. And so I have done watercolor, but it's been years. I've done oil painting and it's been years, but I've taken several classes from purple crayon, 2 in the past, the pouring, acrylic pouring, which I'm getting ready to start on my own here, and the mandala stuff, which I also love, and Zentangle. And those are more crafty. A lot of people would consider them more crafty than fine arts, but you know, I have a son who went to Penland and now he's getting his MFA in art. I have another son too, but they're both musicians. I'm a musician too. Anyway, good thing you gave me a short period of time because I could talk forever. Because I'm 73, so I have lots of years to talk about.
All right, Miss Colleen. Well, I'm glad you joined us. All right, Miss Amanda, I've got you on next.
Hi. I hate introductions of myself. Just for the record.
That's okay. You can just talk for 5 seconds if you want.
Hi, bye. No, my name is Amanda. I was born and raised here. I'm what some people call a purple unicorn. I've been called that several times. I don't know why.
Wait, called a what? What is it?
A purple unicorn because I was born and raised here and I've never moved. For my age, apparently it's weird.
You're gonna have to explain that to me sometime. Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, she's just saying it's unusual. There's not a lot of native Ashevilleans
that stick around, and have no thoughts of leaving. Basically, I am a Jill of all trades. I have my hand in a lot of baskets. I've dabbled with watercolor, acrylics, oils. I'm currently the teacher for the Zentangle art club. That's on Fridays. Little plug there. And I'm a big animal advocate. I'm a rehabber for wildlife animals. And I work with persons with disabilities. So, but yeah, my art background is, I've got some college credits for art. So I was going to go for that, but it is what it is. I would like to go into art therapy.
And I would,
yeah. And these are my babies that I'm going to try and do. That is, we have Jax up top and Mouse on bottom.
Mouse, M-O-U-S-E?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I got her when she was like this big. She was what they call a neonate kitten, preemie. So her chance of survival was like zip. She's 5 now, so.
Amanda's a wonderful animal rescuer. The
yeah,
world is lucky to have her, especially the animal world.
Well, Jax I found on the side of the road, so.
Right, exactly. So, well, we're so glad that you're here with us, Miss Amanda. And honestly, there's only one thing that I've ever seen artistically Amanda struggle with, and that was tatting.
I hate it.
She hated it, but everything else I've seen her do, she's like amazing. So I'll be curious to see how she does with watercolors. I'm sure she'll be amazing too, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the play. It's not about the result, but.
I haven't been back to watercolors in a while, so I'm probably
fine. Be a good challenge for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, Miss Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
The other Miss Donna L. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
I'm Donna, and I live in North Asheville. I moved to Asheville about 12 years ago. I lived in Chicago, and I practiced law there. And now I'm doing a little drawing, trying to do some different things. And I'm just a beginning watercolorist. And I'm really looking forward to this class. I love drawing animals and birds and cats and dogs. And so I'm really looking forward to this.
Wonderful. We're so glad you joined us today, Donna. And just to make sure, I know you guys are hearing that several people have some watercolor experience. This is an intro to watercolor. So if you do not have any experience, do not freak out. That we are making that assumption. So, so don't get nervous if you hear that people have some experience. We're going to start you from square one. Thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Miss Georgia, would you like to fill us in about a little bit about you?
I'm Georgia. I am Linda and Nancy's daughter. So I was introduced to the purple crayon through them. I actually live in Idaho. And I have a cat, Watson, who will be the subject today, and he will probably make multiple appearances. He likes to
We hope
get
so.
right in there.
And Georgia, do you have any watercolor experience yet?
No.
Okay.
I mean, well, I played around with it. Like I watched a couple of videos last month, but that's about it.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're so glad you joined us as well. And we're glad that your mama brought you to us, your mamas down here. We're going to go switch over to them. Let's see. So I don't care who goes first, Nancy or Linda, but if you guys, and you're just, your mic is off right now. And if you'll introduce us to you. Yeah, for those of us who don't know you. Not like me. Oh, your mic is off, honey. There you go.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy. I am a native Bostonian. This is the first time I've lived outside of Boston, even for my schooling. We've been in Asheville a little over 2 years. Linda, who is to my left, probably your right, is my wife. We got married shortly before we moved here. And I am going where she's my wife. I'm going to steal her line, and that is, I like to play. That's why I'm here. I like to play. I like to learn.
Yes.
And that sums it up.
Wonderful. We're thrilled that you love to play, and even more thrilled you love to play with us. So, all right, Miss Linda.
Hi. I think both of us are going to draw our dog, Thomas.
Look at that.
Cute cowboy outfit.
Yes.
Little hat.
You want to put the cowboy outfit on him? Okay.
Well, I don't know if we want to, but
we'll see if his hair comes out okay. I won't put his hat on. If it comes out a mess, I'll put a hat and I'll put his bandana up over his nose. So
perfect.
I started taking some classes at Purple Crayon. Yeah, just for fun. I don't have, I've done a lot. I have played a lot. I've done pottery. I've done weaving, knitting, that kind of thing. But haven't done any of that for quite a while, and really just enjoy trying different things. It's been fun. I grew up in Philly and moved to Denver. 15 years later, I moved to Idaho. And then 15 years after that, I moved to Boston. And then I said, Nancy, it's almost 15 years is up in Boston. We need to move. And we had come down here for the solar eclipse and really liked it. And she agreed to come south out of her hometown. So we're here.
And we are so glad that you are. Nancy and Linda have taken many classes since the pandemic, and we're so grateful that you're helping support us through this. Can't wait to see you take them in person again, but for now, very grateful. All right, ladies, I think we hit everybody. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. All right, so I'm going to turn my video off now. I'm going to mute myself. Again, I'll be here if you need anything, and I'm going to turn it over to Miss Terry Lynn again.
That's such a Southern thing, that Miss Terry Lynn. I keep trying to get used to that.
I know,
Right?
I tell her, don't do that. I'm not used to that, but I know it's Southern.
They can't help themselves. It's what they do. So my intent, ladies, all ladies here, is that this is just going to be fun. This was designed for super basic painting. People I had in mind were people who hadn't done watercolor or just maybe played around with it as children, or, you know, just haven't really got any basis of it. So I'm going to start kind of from scratch. And this first week, I'm going to introduce some things, some of the supplies, ways of approaching this. And the second week, we'll go back, review some shapes. And probably then is when we'll start really working on your animals. But we're going to kind of move into that. We've got 4 weeks, and I see you all have great photos of your pets. And it might be good as we go along to have more than one a photo of your pet for different angles or something like that. And each one that I've been looking at is very different. I mean, I was looking at the photos, and like one of the cats has a white nose like this, and another, sometimes their superficial coloring can get in the way of the form. So we always have to think about the form of the animal first, and then the coloring comes toward the end. But we're going to be playing with it because we want this to be fun, first of all, and it's amazing how by using a very simple approach, you can paint a recognizable cat or dog or pet. I hadn't thought of birds. Birds, I just wrote that down. So I hear at least one person had a bird they wanted to try painting. So that's kind of my approach, and we're going to play along. Now, today I wanted to start out with a little bit of sketch. Do you all have, or is there anyone who does not have any sketch paper or pencil? I think where that came out, just any kind of paper to draw on doesn't really matter. So I have here, this is some drawing paper. I've learned to re-say drawing because I don't know about the other Bostonian, the New Englander, but I came down here going drawing, and Pam made fun of me. I was like, what do you mean? It's drawing. So she says, where's that second R come in? And I'm like, I don't know, idea. It's there, I guess. So so drawing. Is that right, Pam? Oh, you're on mute, so you can't.
And hopefully I didn't make fun of you. Hopefully I just like
teasing you.
Teased you a little bit.
Yeah.
I have a very good friend who lives in Boston. I tease her too.
Yeah. Well, we tease you guys for your accent, you know. So it's interesting. Yeah. So if I say something that's, I hope not rude, but a little bit off like that, I'm teasing. I love people. I don't want to kid anybody, but I enjoyed knowing that. I was not aware of the fact that I said drawing. You know, it's funny. My mother, who's also, she is has her Master of Fine Arts and has taught college for years. She's now 94 and just made it through COVID, by the way. She got COVID and pneumonia, and she's surviving at 94 years old. She's in Maine, but for modern M-O, now I can't even do it. Modern, M-O-D-E-R-N, right? Modern, M-O-D-E-R-N. She says Morden. So she puts the R in where it's not, and she takes it away where it is, but otherwise not much of an accent. So just kind of kidding around with that. As we get going too right now, because I'm doing some teaching, it's nice that you're all on mute, but as we get going, it's a small enough class that we can have a little bit of chatter going on as we move along. So here we have a sketch paper. I have a pencil. If you just have, thank you, Pam. If you just have a, plain number 2 pencil, that's fine. I tried to get a darker one, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing on my pad here. I do have a gum eraser just to get rid of major mistakes. When we do a drawing underneath for a watercolor, we want the drawing to be fairly light. It doesn't matter if a bit of the lines show through, but we want that watercolor to be the aspect. And as you get going more and more in this approach that I'll be using, you almost don't have to draw much at all. So again, I designed this for people who didn't know how to do painting or drawing, so it should be easy and kind of fun. So next thing I have, we'll use those first, are my watercolors. Now this is just my little box. I don't really care exactly what you have. If you're wondering about it, go ahead and take a picture and send it to me. And even if it's just a Crayola box of paints, that's fine. I used to use those for my beginner high school class. They are fairly decent pigments in Crayola. There's a couple others that are much cheaper and they fade so quickly that you really don't want to use those. On the instruction sheet, it showed maybe that you had some tube paints. You can use those or not. There's so many different ways. These just have little cakes that you can replace. So your watercolor, you need a mixing area. This comes with a very small mixing area. Colleen asked earlier, which mixing area should I use? My main palette is bigger than this paper. So this is my travel kit and it works fine, but it does get a little small in this mixing area. And you notice I leave some paint in there. By doing that, I'm not getting pure color when I'm going into my painting. It's always a little bit affected by other colors around it. When we start a class, the first thing you kind of want to do is dampen your paints. If they're in cake form, I just have this, I found this cute little, I don't even know what it is, a little bottle with a little squirty thing on it. And then I can just one or two drops just to soften the paint and get it ready. It will take, 10, 15 minutes or so for that to soften. And then when I go to use it with a brush, it'll be ready to go. I do have some salt. We're going to play around with salt for some textures here. I have 2 water tubs. Happen to be some of my mugs that I made years ago, handleless. One for clean water and the other one to clean off my brush. That's just what I do. So the one on the, where's my watercolor brush? Oh, there it is right there. I thought it was blending in. I will rinse it here quite a bit. And the way to rinse your brush, I teach techniques and things too. So if you do have any question, just unmute and yell at us and Pam and I will hear you. As you're going into your water, you want to kind of turn gently and push that brush around to get all of the pigment out of it when you're cleaning it. And then tap it off. I tap it like this, that points it up. So there's a nice point on it. And if you go to the store to buy paintbrushes, that's a good way to know if it's a good one. If it points up, it's probably good. If you notice with this hardware store brush, which we're going to be using for textures and things, these probably have a name, but they're just a simple bristle brush. If you wet that, it of course is not going to point up because it's a bristle. As you advance in watercolor, I also use a nice flat brush, but right now we're not going to worry about that. I wanted to keep this ultra simple for you. So to clean the brush, and you don't leave, do not do that. Do not leave the brush in the water. Kind of a stickler for this. 2 things happens. I'm an educator, you can tell this as well, but we will get painting. You're bending the hair, and a lot of these hair are very fragile if you leave it at the bottom of your cup. And the other thing is this area is called the ferrule, and it's obvious in this too. So what happens when they're making a brush is the hair is probably twice as long as what you're seeing here. They put it together. They usually wrap it with a string inside. Then they put it in the handle with a glue. This one is probably the same thing, lightly glued, but then it's crimped so it has a flatter shape. So that crimping does that. If you leave that in the water, the glue starts to dissolve and the hairs will start coming out of the brush. So that's the 2 reasons why. Don't bend the hair, and so the glue doesn't dissolve. So once I'm done using it, I'll set it down on my sponge. That's the main reason I use the sponge for. I have a couple of spray bottles. One is a fine mist bottle and one is a little bit more irregular. I like the irregular one for the watercolors. These I get at like, you know, a big department store for like $1 or something. You can find these very easily. And it's nice to have different ones for different things. Those are our main supplies. Yes. If you don't have those and you're wondering if there's something you don't have, don't go out, please. Don't go out and spend a lot of money. Check with me first. And unless you want to go spend money, oh my gosh, you start buying art supplies, it's an addiction. You get going, it gets really hard. And then you're like, yeah. Colleen's like, yep, this is true.
Amanda, pay attention to Miss Terry Lynn there.
It's seriously, pastels are crazy because you go and you want to buy this whole set, and I'm thinking, I have plenty of colors and I have plenty of pastels right now and I can make my own. Why am I going out and buying more? It's like wine. I saw a nice couple of wines the other day and I'm like, oh, that looks like a really good wine. That's a great year. I want it. And I'm like, I have wine at home. Why am I buying more?
I'm a shopaholic, so I understand. I have so many art supplies and I just did a huge purge and I still have too many.
Right? That's Amanda, right?
And I'm teasing Amanda, but actually I'm so happy that she has all those, because when I'm at the studio or anybody, someone needs something, we just ask Amanda.
Yeah, I'm probably having it, and if I don't, it's probably at home because I'm using it. So.
Well, Amanda, you do so many different things. I mean, the last time I really saw you was with those beautiful angels you were making.
Oh.
Remember?
Oh, you mean the cat angel?
The cardboard cat angel one?
Oh yeah, she's finished.
Yeah.
She's in the studio.
You're so creative. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I was going to say, as soon as I learn a new art technique, I have to have everything that you could possibly have that would go with that art technique. So after taking the acrylic pouring from Purple Crayon, I have probably spent $250 on more supplies. And yet I haven't done it yet because I'm trying to clean up my art room. So I know it's definitely habits.
It's an addiction.
What I've been focusing on lately is electronic equipment so I can do these classes. And I try to keep it as simple as possible and as inexpensive as possible. And I'm realizing that my poor MacBook Pro here that you're seeing me on is a 2009. It's been refurbished, but the poor baby, it's been all through South America, all through Europe with me. And it's just having a little extra trouble with these Zoom meetings. And for the quality, for my attendees' benefit, I want the best quality I can. So yeah, I mean, you know, we pays our monies and we makes our choices, and the way it goes. Pam, can I go back to my laptop, please?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I just want to share a couple things. Make sure I've got it open here to share as we're moving along. Yes. Okay, I will send these to you if you want. This is just a little background on some basic drawing. And I'm sure you all are quite aware of these things. But again, I didn't want to make any assumptions. So we can see here, drawing is a foundation for all art. And this I firmly believe in. If you have a sketchbook, we should be using it all the time. And as you're doing your sketches, if you're interested in doing more art, and if you're not, if you're doing this just for fun, I mean, this is for fun, right? But I like to give some background because we can always pick up information as tools to help us get better. And by being a little better, we can enjoy it more. So even if you're a sculptor or a potter or anything, drawing still helps you. In your sketchbook, you're doing a drawing or a sketch, write down notes beside it. Say, why did I draw this? Why was this interesting to me? What is the, what was the feeling I had the day that I did this? So can you still see my little picture as well as my screen share? Yes, no?
I can. I'm assuming, can everybody else see Terry
Can you see
Lynn's
me?
little picture?
Yeah, like here's a little sketch, and see the notes I have on it beside it. Now, by having those notes written beside, it'll say things like, oh, Pemaquid, 3 months into the pandemic, the sun, it was a perfect air, it was surf. The sun will not rise nor set without my notice or thanks by Winslow Homer. And I would just write down these ideas. So when I go to use that sketch as a basis for a painting, I can bring myself back to that. And when you take a photograph of your pet and you do a sketch of it, you want to, as you're going to the painting, recapture that emotion that you're doing this for a reason. You know, you love this pet. What is it about maybe the time, that moment you took that picture of the pet? Are you going to catch that sparkle in their eye? Was it a little tilt to the head? Try to remember what influenced you, what inspired you to do a painting of it. So back to the drawing, you can see there's many ways of doing lines. I'll send this to you, just kind of an interesting little thing. You can do these lines that define the shape as it goes around the object. But all drawing, all things, if you look at it two-dimensionally, 2D is two-dimensionally, are based basically on a circle, a square, and a triangle. That helps us to take something that is in 3 dimensions and put it on a 2-dimensional flat piece of paper. So we're going to start very simply that way. And then we will kind of move into our 3-dimensional shapes. So if you take a circle and you do not just around this way, but coming toward you or going away from you or around like an equator or something, you end up with something that's a sphere. A cube, a square 3-dimension can become a cube, or you can elongate it. You can flatten it out like a book. That's basically a cube. And a triangle, of course, you can spin it on its central axis and it becomes a cone, so you 3-dimensionally, or a pyramid. The cylinder is like a circle, but just a series of circles going back, so you have this long. And if you can take these basic 5 3-dimensional shapes and create almost any drawing with that, and it's very, very helpful. And then this one just talks about expressive line instead of the same size of line. By varying the weight and the darkness of the line, you can make it more interesting and indicate shadow and more 3-dimensionality. I am allowing, right now, any questions? I'm just kind of laying a foundation right now. So when I start talking and I say things, we have some similar vocabulary. Watercolor painting, these are the basics. You don't have to have all of these, but let me explain these. Did you get this? Pam, did they get this one?
I do not.
I don't think so. All right. And I just want to introduce this so it's in our background again. There are basic colors here that by having these very few colors, you can create any color you want. So a lemon yellow and a cadmium yellow. You can't see my palette right now. I'll refer this when we go back to my palette. This is a cool transparent yellow, that the T means transparent. So that means when you take the watercolor and you lay it out, it's going to show through what's underneath it very nicely. If you have a pencil line there, the pencil line will show. A cadmium yellow is going to be a little more opaque. It's going to be a little thicker because of the type of pigment that it is made from. Pigments start out basically ground minerals, they're started out natural things, but now they're creating a lot of synthetic pigments. Dirt, like your ochres, are just ground up dirt, and then you add in a medium to make it into a paint. For instance, your ultramarine blue originally was lapis lazuli, that semi-precious stone, that blue stone, and they ground it up and put it into paint. Alizarin crimson is a purple kind of red, and a cadmium red is that warm red. Cerulean blue, ultramarine blue. Lamp black, black. If you're buying watercolor paints, if you get other blacks, like if you get a Payne's gray, if you're familiar with that or something, they often have other colors in them. Lamp black is just black. Payne's gray can run you into trouble because it actually has ultramarine blue. So you want to say, oh, I have a nice grayish with a touch of warmth here. So you take your Payne's gray, which is black and a touch of blue in it, and you add yellow in it to warm it up, all of a sudden you have green. And a lot of people don't get that. So these are, I'm just educating. Burnt sienna is a nice brick color. Yellow ochre is kind of your mustard color, and burnt umber is a nice dark brown. Using these, how many we have here? 10 colors, you can do everything with it. You don't need to buy all sorts of other colors, where with pastels you have to. These are some of the techniques that we're going to be employing as we get into the painting. So this is a basic flat wash, and we'll practice this today. So I might get back to this and refer to it. I will send you this as a PDF as well, which is just to take your paint and you make it as flat as possible on your paper. A graded wash, you put the paint down and add water as you go down so it gets lighter. Wet on wet, you have some wet paint on your paper, you drop in some more paint and it spreads out and it has that nice foggy, soft effect. This is a great technique for fur. Dry brush is when you wait and everything else is dry, you can come in and you can define details very well. Lifting color means that, the lifting color, you put some paint down, take a paper towel or something, blot it, and it lifts up some of that color. Good for clouds. I used it today on one of the cats I started. Splattering, don't think we're going to do too much splattering, but you can take your brush and kind of tap it and make splatter marks. That might be nice for certain textures. Color and color is a lot like wet and wet. And then stamping, you can actually take something like a sponge, put some paint on it and stamp that on. So those are some of our techniques. Any questions before I move on here? Gives me a chance to sip some water. Really, either you're totally bored or I'm just so great at teaching that you've got it all down.
And I can't see everybody's quizzical looks right now, so I don't know if they have any.
Sharing. All right, God, screen sharing.
Will you send that to us an email also?
Yes,
okay.
I'm going to send you both those, and
okay.
I want to share one other thing I'm going to share with you, but I'm not going to have you do this today. Let me find it. Here it is. All right, some people are, whoops. There we go. It's my screen share. I don't want to push a lot of technology on people, but this is a wonderful little site online when, as we get painting, you can just, you can just upload your paintings and share them with a class here. This is called Padlet. I'll send you the link. You can play with it. All you have to do is sign up. And then you go, I send you the link to my class and you can just drag a picture right in there. It's very easy to use. And I'll explain more about that later. I know a lot of people get overwhelmed by so much new technology that we have to learn, but it's a nice little thing. Also, if you noticed on there, I have some of my instruction sheets right there to see as well.
By the way, I'm just curious, ladies. Terry Lynn and I had fairly lengthy conversation about whether to have you guys use this tool or not. And I was of thinking that a lot of people aren't going to want to try anything new or learn anything, especially with the technology, but I was totally willing to be proven wrong. I'm just curious if you could raise your hand if using a tool like that seems to be exciting to you, that you want to. Amanda, I knew you would. Georgia, yes. Gay, yes. Donna, yes. Linda, Nancy, yeah. And Colleen and Donna, what is your thinking? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Well, I don't know, Terry Lynn. They may be more open to it. I was telling her, I was thinking about my mother, who she doesn't want to do anything new technology-wise that she does not have to. So, so that's what I was thinking. But it looks like you guys, I don't know, you may be interested in it. So maybe we can give it a shot, Terry Lynn.
It's not a required thing, but it's kind of nice. I can show your paintings that you share better. Like you take a picture of what you've done, put it up, and then the next week we can share it. Or you can do the original stuff and try to find the place like in your camera to do it that way too, which is fine as well.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks. I don't want to push too much on people, but I think it's a pretty good little thing. And it's a reference point. You can go in, you can, as I said, check the notes, you can look at other people's paintings. And in a class, if you haven't been in an art class, by sharing what you're doing, everyone learns. Even from the not so good stuff. We really, really do. And we can chat about it a little bit. And you can like people, you can make little comments on them. And of course, you folks are all respectful of everyone else. So that's not a concern of mine there. All right. So let's get our paper and our pencils. You guys ready to try some? Sometimes it's just nice to get some easy sketching going. Now, if you're watching me, I'm very light on my paper right now. I actually have my fingers kind of resting on the paper and I'm practicing and going around in a circle. When I feel the circle's pretty good, I'll put a little more pressure so it shows up. Now you can see I have a number of lines there. Who cares? Doesn't really matter. If you look at some of your master painters, watercolors or things like that, they do that. They don't go like, oh my gosh, this has to be perfect, you know, and it's expressive of yourself. So maybe some of the shapes we're going to work with the most are a circle. Notice how I'm holding my pencil too. I am not holding it as if I'm writing. This is your writing. You want to get a little further back and hold it relaxed. And use your whole arm in your drawing, not just your wrist. You want to move kind of your whole, see my whole arm moving there. So that helps. And just warm up with a couple of shapes for drawing. Triangle, square. And right now, we're just going to stay with our two-dimensional shapes for today, okay? I'm not going to get into the 3D things. So I'm going to be referring to triangles and circles, squares, and of course a rectangle is just a longer, thinner square. And kind of based on that.
Linda and Nancy, this should be bringing back memories. Linda and Nancy took Terry Lynn's drawing class. So that was a 4-week class in all drawing. So just a little bit of the beginning part of that class will be refreshing.
Yes, it is. It's a review kind of that beginning part of the class, but I think it's important for all of the things. So
absolutely.
I just noticed that the seat I was sitting on was too low for me to be able to freely move my arm. So yeah, so I got a higher chair to sit on, which will allow my arm to be freer. And I thought that was something important to mention.
That's very good. Thank you so much. Yeah, you want it anytime you're working, like I noticed, this is interesting. I got a new little desk for my computer and my shoulder was starting to get a little, I'm like, why is my shoulder? And I realized the desk was setting up too high. So I was lifting my shoulders to reach the keyboard. So you want it pretty much, can you see? Well, your elbow comes at your waist and that's about the height that you want something you're working on, right about at your waist height. I don't think you can, that makes sense though. I don't have to. I'm so used to like a classroom situation. I'm always moving around, you know, and people guys say, see, look at this. Now I have to look at which camera is showing what. All right. Now, I sent you a photo of something that I can't find. Here we are. Did you get something like this? Did you guys get to print it up or something? We're going to play with these two little guys a little bit, if that's okay.
And just so you know, Taylor, not everyone did print it probably. So just let's make sure that those who didn't, because I told them it was optional, you know, they didn't have to.
Right, it is optional. I will.
What email did that come in? I didn't see that.
I didn't either.
It was in the 2-day reminder that had the link to the class and everything.
Okay.
I saw the picture, but I don't have color ink anymore in my printer, so I didn't print it.
You don't need color ink. I do have, I actually used it in black and white. Black and white's actually better. I did put this one in color because, you know, if we're going to paint, color's nice. But look, on the dog, there's very little color. Mostly it's the grass behind. And when I did this little one, like this, all I had was some black and some yellow ochre right there, basically. Those are the only two colors I had. That mustard color and black were basically all I used for this. So if it's in black and white, it doesn't matter so much. But if we look,
if you can't find it and if you want me to resend it, just
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Please resend, just so I
Okay.
can.
No problem. Same to you, Colleen. I'll send it to you. I have to figure out which email you want me to use, though.
No, it's still on there. It's still on my email. I didn't erase the email, so it should be there.
right, and I realize not everybody has a printer at home necessarily. So if you get it, put it on your desktop, so when it's time for you to paint, you can, you know, switch to that screen. Do you all know how to do that kind of? Don't shut down your Zoom, just switch over to that other image, maybe. So if we're looking at this guy, is that close enough to see him pretty well, everyone? Sorry, you got to see my floor there too, but anyway. If I analyze him, and here I am, we try to find the shapes of him. I see basically almost a circle for his head. Yes? This part of his body, not counting this, or this down to his feet, is almost like a rectangle. And then you've got kind of these going off to the side, kind of half circles. So thinking about that, I'm going to start, so you can see it pretty well, with a circle. We just practicing our circles. So we've got a little circle there. And then I have kind of a rectangle. You want to try to figure out where it's coming down here. It's coming, if you drew a straight line there, it would almost be down by the side of his head. So watch me for a minute and then you can practice. Down by the side of his head. So I'm going to bring that down. And what I'm doing, this is becoming what Linda and Nancy will remember, container shapes. If you take these basic shapes, you can put objects inside or around them. So there's kind of, and how far down, I do a quick little measure. See, from his neck to his feet is about that long. And that is just over, it's about 2/3, a little bit bigger than his head. So his head's like that. I'll start at the head. Let's start at the head, measure the head. And then down there, so 1.5. There's 1 and about 1/2. So that's where I think I want his feet. And then kind of those half circles, there's his belly sticking out there and there's his little back leg. So very simply, I have started the shape that I'm going to put my dog into. Now at this point, if you have any questions, let me know. Also notice that his head is tilted. This is what makes him so cute. He's not straight up and down. His head is tilted a little bit. And you try to figure out what that angle is. It's not quite 45. Can you see what I'm talking about, the angle? The tilt up the middle of his head, and this is straight up and down. So I'm going to try to imagine that tilt here. So right now, all we've done is draw some shapes. How is that feeling for everybody? It's okay. And then once we have that, you can kind of measure, again, I'm not going to do a fine measurement, but if I did his whole head, try to figure out where his eyes and his mouth are. His eyes are not quite halfway down. Now, ignore everything else. You need to make his eyes go perpendicular to the tilt of his head. See how that's at that tilt? And the same with his mouth. It's going to be at that perpendicular tilt of his head. That center line is the tilt, and then the eye line. And then the little nose is going to be in there too. The nose is pretty close to the mouth. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. So I'm kind of measuring out where I'm going to put these things. I don't know if you can see I've got to be darker on my lines. I apologize for the camera. I also notice his little muzzle here is kind of another little circle that goes up to his eyes. See that circle on a circle? Now, when you get to the watercolor, we're not going to put this much emphasis on it, but we're understanding his form right now. And then up here where we decided his eyes were, estimate about how far apart his eyes are, and we'll put little circles in there. Look at that, circles on circles on circles.
He looks like a little monkey now.
Yeah, it's because of this is emphasized.
It's cute.
Yeah, his nose actually, then you start going from the larger, you start with the large forms and you come down smaller and smaller forms. Okay, so we started with the head and the body, basically. Now we've come down to his muzzle and his eyes. How about the ears? His head is actually not round, it's a little bit flat across the top. Again, that has to be perpendicular to that line. His ears are like little, maybe kind of a triangle kind of thing. This one I like because it pops up a little bit. I mean, it's kind of a triangle shape like this, but it also kind of pops up and goes down and then it flops down. So you can always think about your angles of these lines that will help you. We're not going to end up seeing all of his eye because he's fuzzy. The nose, this is the base of his nose. Am I going too fast? No? Okay. Is somewhat of a circle-y triangle. It's kind of like curved at the top, starts a triangle but gets truncated right about there. And his little mouth is hardly even there. We're going to end up making that just fur, and that's going to be more of a shadow than anything, but we want to know where it is.
And just so you know, Terry Lynn, Miss Gay had to leave for her appointment.
Oh, thank you.
She didn't get bored or or angry or anything. She just
Thank you for that reminder. Yeah, she did text me or email me and say she had the doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
So
I wanted you to know.
But nice today. Look, if we were in a live workshop, she'd have to leave and she'd miss this. Now we have it recorded. She can
exactly. Yes, wonderful.
I mean, it's a great benefit. And then I'm going to just now thinking about his shoulder comes down. You know, I'm just going to curve it a little bit. Same with this shoulder, kind of comes. His little paw, think about his paw, that's kind of an oval. An oval's just a squashed circle. And try to always be thinking of your relationship to your size. Notice that his paw is it's not as big as his muzzle, of course. It's about a quarter of the size. So you're always kind of comparing in relationship. And this is all fur. I'm just kind of placing this because this fur is going to cover a lot of this up. We're not going to get that concerned. What I'm trying to help now is thinking through the forms and the shapes. Then his back comes off here. It's going to fuzz out into that fur. He's just covered with fur. Tell you what would be hard to draw is one of those hairless cats. I have a friend that has one of those hairless cats. You'd have to really understand the muscles and the form. The fun about these guys is that they're going to be covered with so much fur, we don't have to worry about it. We can play with that. That's what makes that fun. So how are we doing?
I'd like to make a complimentary comment. I like the bit about the feet because normally I would have been trying to make the feet look three-dimensional, but reminding us that they are, you know, a squashed oval kind of takes that need to make them look three-dimensional out. So
right.
You, yeah, concentrate. So thank you. That's a good.
You're welcome. The only little difference, I mean, if you look at it, because that's where you don't want the focus there anyway. When we get painting, the face is going to be where we want his focus. When you're painting your pet, the face is basically what, but we do have to have this somewhat believable. So I'm going to switch this over now. How else? How do you guys look? Pretty good? Following just the shapes? I got my grandson to do this. He was 5 years old and he didn't do Doug. What did we do? One of his favorite cartoon characters. Oh my gosh, cartoon characters are all simple shapes, based on simple shapes.
Carrie Lynn, would it be helpful for folks to hold their thing up just to, I don't know if there's anything more you're gonna do on that dog, just to make sure that everyone's got it, kind of basically got the basics?
Can we go back to gallery for a moment then?
Yes.
I didn't draw anything. I just watched you.
That's okay. Did anyone try something that, so like we can just, oh, Donna, that's cute. Maybe his ear's a little bit bigger, Donna Man. Dana Limpere, how do you say your last name? Limperes? Okay.
Limperis.
Limperes, thank you. A little closer.
Here, I can spotlight.
Character. Yes. See? That little tilt of the head helps so much. And thank you guys so much for thinking about that center line. That'll help you with the tilt. Anyone else?
Let me get George's, okay.
Oh, cute.
Very good.
Nice. His head's a little big for the body. The body would be a little bigger. Right. That's about. So kind of doing that measurement will help. Linda or Nancy, you guys should know how to draw. You were in my class before.
Oh yeah.
Cute. Yep. A little bigger on the ears, maybe. That's so cute. She's not going to show us. All right. There it is. This is hard, isn't it? See, that's why I'm thinking that Padlet will. Oh, that's cute too. Hers looks like a little bear. Mine looks like a monkey. Yours looks like a bear. All right.
Anyone else before we move on?
Anyone else?
Oh, Amanda. Okay, hold on.
Sure.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Get that. You have that feeling already of that, his hair that's going to be coming down and stuff. Good. Good. All right, everybody, how about you just stand up and take a stretch about an hour in? No? Move? Something? Take a drink of water. I'm going to. Of course, I'm doing all the talking, so. Where'd Georgia go? Georgia disappeared.
She probably just turned off her stuff.
No, she's all galaxy. It's kind of nice. Yeah. Amanda too. Amanda has it. Amanda, I like your new hair and stuff. Is it new? I mean, it's good.
Yeah, it's new. I recently just got it cut shorter. So yeah, it's all short and stuff. It's a lot better for like my migraines and stuff. And though it's so cold, I had to crochet myself like my hat and everything.
You can crochet, which is great.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of commissions for Christmas.
Amanda, I was telling Terry Lynn how successful your new physique efforts were. I said she wouldn't have recognized you from a year ago.
Oh no!
If I didn't fill her in.
Yeah, just I look completely different. There are some people that were friends in high school of mine, and they don't even recognize me. They're like, "Whoa, I can't."
Wow. Well, congrats! You did awesome. That's a great feeling. You feel better, more energy and stuff, and
oh, so much. And I was able to like basically cut all of my medications in half.
Wow.
It's great, and I'm right where I'm supposed to be now, and doctors are super happy, and they're like, you need to tone up more, but I don't want to tone up more. I'm fine.
No, I went up to Maine and it's just like, it's so cool. And I just gained, like 10 or 15 pounds and waiting. I like getting out and walking. It's not just that. I feel better if I get outside every day. And I haven't for the last few days. I've been so bad.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I made a walk yesterday when it was a horrible weather, but it made me feel so much better.
Yeah, that's so important. I was the week before. I was getting out plenty. All right, let's. You want to try the cat next? Let's just try it. on my, I'm sorry, Pam, on the easel, yes. Now he's kind of cut off in this picture. I just grabbed pictures online, but I thought he was cute and he's simple enough that don't know if you've seen what I did with him. If you look at this closely, see if I can do this.
I love that.
I was really happy with the way it came out. Now this is a handmade paper, watercolor paper, so that's kind of interesting. But the technique is basically we'll sketch in his eyes, and we want to leave the eyes dry. And I'll show you when we get to doing him, how to leave the eyes dry, kind of put your fingers over there. And then I've done some lifting, but there's not a lot of watercolor technique in this one to get a nice little painting of a cat. And that's what we can do. With this guy, is dropping that color in. I sprayed it with my big doopy spray bottle. So it caused this bleeding that makes it look like fur. And it also caused some texture droplets in here as well. So these are the things, it's simple techniques that we can try. And I think you can get something nice. And I think if we all start with the same ones and then move to your animals, by all practicing on the same one, we can critique ourselves and each other and really kind of learn and then move on to our personal animals. This guy basically was a lot with this brush. You can see where I put some paint in and then I just dragged this dry brush across the top and created fur. And the eyes, somebody had a dog with black eyes. One of the last dogs that was shown, I can't remember which person had that. But when you're doing that, we don't want to just put black on there. We're going to leave a little dot of white in there of the paper shining through. Because all living things, when you do their eyes, you want that little bit of sparkle. So there's only like 1, 2, 3 layers of paint on this. So I'm hoping and excited that this is going to come out well. All right, next thing, let's just try the kitty reel. The same thing we just did with the 2-dimensional shapes. You can see he's going to be different proportions than the dog. And you can start either way. You can start with the head area. I'm going to put a circle first, but actually a cat is more of a triangle face. But I want to get that shape, that circle. And then instead, there's a big oval here. And if you do a big one like this, you can kind of make sure it's in the right proportion to the head. I can see here that it's not, the head needs to be a little bigger. This is the time to make those changes early on. His chest kind of pops out. So see, now I'm doing a circle or an oval within an oval. And then his legs kind of pop off. So I've just done a few. Can you see that okay? It's a little light on mine.
I was just gonna mention, Terry Lynn, for those folks who are not comfortable drawing, that air drawing technique that you taught in your drawing class, I think is really helpful. And you mentioned a little bit here, in terms of darkening it, but to start it in the air,
okay.
I thought that was great.
Is the circle on the chest?
Yeah.
Is the circle on the chest larger than the circle of the head? Is there a way for you to, Pam, is there a way for you to enlarge the picture of the kitty cat?
I cannot, other than Terry Lynn maybe holding it up closer to the camera.
Well, I mean, because we're seeing her whole, all of her art stuff, and if there was a way to zero in more on it, the cat would be bigger.
I don't know if my camera will do that, Colleen, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Let me try. It did it earlier, and I don't know, sometimes I can zoom in and sometimes.
Well, if you lifted your picture up towards the camera, just lifted the piece of paper up to the camera, it would get bigger.
Yeah, and it's very light right now. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah. Or put the,
so,
I mean, I'm talking
again,
about
the air drawing, like Pam said, just very lightly. So I'm thinking the circle here on the face, which you can't really see. And then this is a little bit bigger, like 1.5 times, and it's a little bit at an angle. So start lightly and then go darker. And then the back, and they're overlapping. If you see them, they're overlapping circles, right? the circle of the body, the smaller circle of the chest, and the smaller circle of the head.
And Colleen, just so you know, there's not, in this picture, there's very little definition of that body, up close or not.
Yeah, I know.
Just one big blob.
Yeah.
So just so you know, you're not really missing out on anything by not having it up close.
Okay, what I was thinking you could do would be if you have some kind of a box, you could sit that little paper on top of a box and that would make it look bigger.
But then there'd be two different focal lengths.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Cancel that.
Yeah, and we need to keep kind of the supplies go up. I feel like this is going to tilt off here in a sec. I could do this.
That's a lot better.
That's better. Okay.
Yeah, we can see your drawing better too.
All right. So there it is. And now we're kind of looking at the head. So again, it's tilted, not as much as that little puppy was, but a little bit tilted. So you can like lie a line there and then just at the same, since our papers are parallel, just kind of bring that over there and keep that in mind as you kind of bring through that central line to his face. Those tilts for animals and people and stuff, that way of tilting the head is really going to add personality to our painting. Now I'm going to start shaping the head. I'm thinking lines that go across, like tangential lines. So if I took a line across the top, let me see where that is on yours. Right, the top part of his head like that. I'm looking at that line that touches the top, down the side where it goes down his neck. So I'm looking at these angles, this one here, kind of this one here. His chest pops out, this angle coming back in here. Again, at this point, we're understanding the form of the cat. Notice how this neck part going into his back, how is that in relationship to the rest of him? It's like near, because we have a little hint of that chin area. It's kind of near that. It's quite a bit different from this where it pops out that way. So you can double check it. You can double check it against this point to that point, or you can check it this point to the bottom of the chin, which is about the same level. So those are little double checks as you're going along. Goes out, his back comes out, then it goes down. So see, I'm just thinking line here, there, a little curve there, a little curve there. And that's kind of the shape of our cat. Now we can bring in his face a little bit more. Remember we talked about it being a little bit of a triangle. So right now I'm going from along this side of his face. This one disappears, we have to imagine it, but here, so there's his chin, angle to his face. There's probably one over here somewhere. His ears, again, just angles off from that circle. What is, if we have that central tilted line, how is this angling off in relationship to that? This one's a little bit different. Both sides of the head are not the same. Can you kind of see that as comparing the photo and the sketch? And now the eyes, where the eyes go. I'm going to do, and there's a number of ways you can do this, but if you look at the bottom of the ears and you do a nice little curve between there like that, that will give you right where the eye level would be.
Is that true on all cats or just this particular?
No, there's basic proportions and things, but all cats are different. Okay. There's another cat I have a photo of. not there, who's a Persian.
Mhm.
And a Persian cat has a flattened face. It's totally different. So you need to look at each one. But by putting those shapes in circles and squares and triangles, you can get what that particular animal is looking like. Now you kind of measure to the eyes. Notice they're like two, you could probably fit 2 eyes in between the eyes if you measured from the corner to one corner, that distance, and then again. That's different than people. People's eyes are basically 1 eye distance apart. But if you look at this cat, it's 2. So they're kind of circles. If we do that circle aspect again. Now it looks like a squirrel. Because if you notice, once we get that circle of the eye in there, we're going to kind of flatten that out a little bit and bring it up this way. Flatten the top part of that, bring it up. So that's where his eyes are going to go. And this cat has kind of yellowish green eyes, where that little dog is black eyes. So we're going to be working with those things too. Then I kind of generally assess where that nose is. All I can see on this nose is a little bit of a highlight right there. And then those little fur down around his chin. So I'm just going to kind of indicate, because I know cats, if you know a cat, their noses are kind of triangular shaped. So I'm going to slightly indicate that and then give an idea that this is his chin area here. And with just this, we can take this, if you want to add a little tail in, just a couple lines off there, and go from something as simple as this to something like this. You can see it's basically the same shape. I just kind of thought this out. And then from here, when this is on watercolor paper, we would work around the eyes because we want to keep the eyes dry. Why do we want to keep the eyes dry? Because we're going to bring in all this black, and if they're wet, it's going to bleed into the eye like this. So we're going to try to keep that dry. So we'll work around the eyes, and then we'll add all this paint, and then we'll play with the texture. Then we will wait. This is one I did this morning. Once we get most of that black in there and keep the eyes clear, this is kind of what you're going to end up looking like a little bit. This one looks more like Siamese or something. But his eyes are blank. I left that blank because when this is totally dry, if I try to add yellow in there while any of this is wet at all, it's going to bleed into it. That bleeding is like where that comes off there. And that will go into the eyes, which we don't want. So we're going to keep that dry. Then we'll come in very carefully and paint in some yellow. Wait for that to dry. And then we will add the pupil at the very end.
I told Terry Lynn when she showed me that picture with the eyes colored in, that looked like a possessed kitty.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. A little scary.
It is a little scary. And if you look from there to this guy, I got to make sure I get my lens here somewhere. I did put yellow, but look how this is a lighter yellow and it's more of a golden yellow because the light is coming from this direction. So this side is going to have a little bit of highlights. So the eye, but you want to put the pupil in there too. I added a little pink, even though he's not in the picture of the cat, because I don't know, I thought it needed a little something element. This is a painting, you know, this is not a photograph. You want it perfect, take a photograph. There is a little bit of pink in his ear, but I have emphasized that a little bit for interest. And notice here, I put a little blue because maybe that fur is reflecting the sky a little bit or something. And then some fun little techniques we can do to make whiskers.
Anybody want to show your kitty?
Yeah, how are your little kitty drawings?
Okay, let me get Miss Donna there.
Oh, Donna, that's nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Very
Wait,
good.
did you say you didn't do, you've done art, right?
No,
Wait, you said you weren't artistic.
no, I've never drawn before. You're just very good.
No, look, you could draw.
Yay.
I think it's both, my friend. I told you you had some artists in there. Okay, Colleen, it looks like you want to show something. Yes.
Cute. Oh yeah. Look at his little face. See how the face is the draw. That's what the attention goes. Definitely.
Excellent. Anyone else? Let me catch. Oops, I got Miss Donna. Hold on just a sec. You guys are faster than me. Sorry.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. That one almost looks like the cat is sort of turning around like.
It does. It's like he's looking over his shoulder. Nice.
That's awesome. Let's see.
Off the shoulder look. The cat's
That's
giving
right.
us.
That's right. Okay.
I draw my cats a lot, so I don't do the whole outline thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
If you're used to doing, but I'll bet you, Amanda, there's something in your head going like, okay, this is going around this circular shape. This is going around that. Because if I'm doing a painting, I don't go through this whole process. A lot of this happens in my head.
No.
And as you all practice and get used to this, it starts happening more and more in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Like I drew this was of my cat Nora.
Oh,
I just took a picture and she passed away last year, but I needed to do this. But yeah, I also do little caricatures of my current cats. So I drew cats. Dogs are a hard thing for me. Cats I got.
and it's interesting, like we talk about cat people and dog people, and I think it's pretty much true. And if you really are emotively connected to a cat or to a dog, of course, that's what you're going to have a better feeling about painting and drawing. Excellent.
Anyone else want to show? I don't think I got everybody. Someone else had held. Oh, Georgia. Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh yeah.
I can't figure out what's wrong with the head proportions. It looks like a human or something to me.
Which part again? Sorry, you broke up.
Like the head looks weird to me. I can't figure out what I did wrong there.
The ears are too small.
Maybe that's it.
Okay.
Ears are too small.
Yeah,
And
ears.
the body's a little big. Just a slight
Again.
change. But
Oh,
no,
the other way around. Okay.
he's got.
Probably if you made the
personality.
ears
Look like a
bigger, the
kitten.
body wouldn't be.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably yeah. But definitely, you can definitely tell it's a cat though, for sure.
Mm.
That's no. I mean, really, that's important. As Terry was saying, you really just need the basics, and it'll look like what you want it to look like, or at least.
Even accomplished artists, when they do a painting that looks realistic. I'm looking at this portrait that I've got of my granddaughter on the wall right now. You still start with these basic shapes. You can't help yourself. I don't even know if I can do this or not. I don't think I can.
What are you trying to do? Oh, you're trying to show the picture. Yeah.
Wait, I can't see. Pam,
You got it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a drawing of her. It looks quite realistic, but I still, in my mind, every aspect go through the basic shapes. Then I think of them three-dimensionally instead of just flat. I think of the angle against the angle and angle. And again, start large, come in, work smaller as you go along. And it's amazing what we can do.
My process is I start with the ears first.
But
I
then
do
things can get out
ears
of
and then
proportion.
I build it down.
Yep. Kind of like a puzzle.
Yeah, like a puzzle. It's like I
Yeah.
have to do the ears first. I've done them so much. I used to start with basic shapes, but I had to think, how's my process? I did the ears first.
That works for you. That's good. Sometimes doing it that way, though, things do tend to get out of proportion. By doing these big shapes, I've already decided, is the head in proportion with the chest and the body? And just kind of sometimes a nice little double check. All right.
Yeah. Did we catch everybody? Does anyone else need to be seen? Oh, okay. All right. I think we're good. We got about half an hour left.
That's just what I was just going to ask you. All right. Are your paints ready, everyone? Have you wet your paints?
I love George's expression. I don't know.
Wait, what? Wet paint?
Well, if they're in a tube, you really can't wet them, obviously.
True.
Right. Do you have them in a palette? No?
No, they look like this. They're
Let
little
us know now,
cutie.
really, if we should unwrap them or not.
See, mine look like this, so I haven't even opened them because I don't know what color I'd be using. No, I have the little round too that I could use.
All right, let me tell you about when you get it into your palette. And if you have, basically, I have a couple extra. This is one thing I wanted to talk about. All right, sorry I didn't explain that. You want to get your paints out into some sort of palette. So by next week, however, let me see, do you have palettes, everyone? What are you putting your paints into? I don't know if you can show me or not.
I have these.
But let me see. Colleen, yeah, okay, you have enough things to put yours in. Donna, yours are in the.
These came with the set. They pull out.
Yeah, but what does the set look like?
Oh, this.
Right. So with yours, you're going to unwrap them and they're going to kind of end up looking like mine. Yes. Do they have separate little compartments for each one?
Well, yeah. No, I don't think so. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yes, but each of your little, that's a lot like mine. Each of these little paints with the wrappers around that, it has its own little compartment. It holds it.
Okay.
I can't take mine out right now, but
okay.
So
you have to unwrap it,
set them out, and then you have your colors ready. Colleen, I can't.
What if I were using this kind as opposed to the
don't
ones?
Don't hold it up too high. You're gonna fall out.
They did.
You can, yeah, you can do that. That's fine, sure. Anyone else that question what you're using? Can I check?
Terry.
Donna, that looks great. Perfect. Yep.
I think that I have the same thing that Colleen does, the same set. And so I use those spaces. But but I also have these.
Yeah.
But somebody said that you have to rough them up. They don't work well if they're shiny.
Did they tell you why?
I
have never heard that.
Me neither.
Then I just don't remember what the reason.
That's all right. That's interesting. I'm not sure why. I've never heard that in my 40 years of something, but
thank you.
Yes.
I have a question, if I may.
yeah, Nancy.
Do we take the little blocks out of the
container
and put them in
No.
the container, or the whole thing goes in?
The whole thing goes in. I wish mine are wet now, but let me see if I can. I need a palette knife, which is not available right at the moment because it's behind this. I know I've got. They say use the right tool for the right job, but whatever. These are little.
I would take a picture of it.
Let me see if I can do this without. See the little box?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that little box fits right in there. And you can replace it when it gets low, which is nice. Or the other thing is like I did with my yellow this morning, I took a tube of paint and I just dribbled some in there. You can work it that way too.
Georgia, are you good with yours?
I'm sorry?
So I've taken the wrappers off and now I don't know what color they are because two of them look alike.
What colors that look alike?
It could be well, I don't even know. Maybe a green and a blue. I don't know. I mean, I'll find out when I dip my brush in.
Yeah, that top one beside the yellow is a green, I think.
Okay.
Now I've set this up this way, kind of from my lighter to my darker colors.
Okay.
Kind of this way. I put usually, so I've got the two yellows, the two reds, something like that, something basically like that. Georgia, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Okay. I think I tried putting a dot of water on them earlier and they looked pretty dry, so I just sprayed them with my mister.
Okay. And do you have the same kind of little set?
Yeah, I have one of those.
Perfect. Okay.
The travel
Yes.
one.
See the white?
I mean, I have other ones, but this is the one I'm using today.
A lot of these come with white. I don't use white. The paper is the white. What they often put in there is a Chinese white. I'm not sure if the wrapper said that or not, but that tends to be more of a gouache, and it's opaque, and it can turn slightly gray when it dries, just to let you know about that. I don't know why they put white in there. Did I check everyone's pretty
Just to
much?
make sure, Amanda, are you good to go?
Oh yeah, Amanda. She's not on my screen right now, so that's
Yeah,
why.
because she has her.
Sorry.
There you are.
No, I guess I'm fine, but it's like I have this pedal.
That's nice.
That'll work very nicely. Very nicely. Do you have 2 pair of glasses on now, dear?
Okay, I have bifocals, but my actual bifocals make me dizzy. So I have regular glasses with my regular prescription, and then I have the bifocals I'm supposed to be using. So yes.
Look at you just making it work. I love that.
Whatever works.
Yeah, like my actual bifocals, it's like I've had more headaches since I've had them as opposed to just doing this method, because I guess my brain can't adjust as fast as me doing this with my bifocals.
I understand.
I'm special. It's bad.
All right, I think we're good, and we've got about 25 minutes to actually get into the watercolor.
Now, I'm not sure if everybody's paint is ready. For next week, when you set up, like what my setup is here, we will do a sketch again. We're going to warm up with sketches. We'll start with one of them, probably the little dog or something. I'm not sure which one, but I want to try to get through those 2 paintings that I showed you today, next week. And what I'd like you to practice this coming week, if you can, is what I'm going to show you now. So, excuse me.
Yeah, so don't worry if your paints aren't ready. Again, this is recorded. You can go back and you can just pay attention now if you want. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, that's a benefit. So for next week, have the sketch paper ready, have some watercolor paper ready. If you need to tape it down, it depends on what kind of watercolor paper you have. I haven't checked that. And have your paints in the palette. This is the palette. This is the mixing area. Sorry, above is the mixing area. Now I'm so close, you can't see that too much. So they're damp. Have your waters ready and your brushes ready. And then after we practice the drawing, we can go right into the painting. So we're going to, I've moved in so closely now we can't see some of my.
Well, you can probably, if you want, Terry Lynn, you can probably move it back out because you don't need the cat anymore. You don't need the pictures.
Right, I don't know if I can just.
I mean, if you can. There you go.
That's pretty well.
Question?
Yes.
With the watercolor paper, is there a front and a back, or does it matter?
Watercolor paper doesn't matter too much. Some watercolor papers have a sizing on them, which there are so many different types of watercolor paper. If I'm not there, I should have asked that. What type, Donna, what type of watercolor paper do you have?
I think it was Georgia who was asking.
Or anybody?
There, that's George's.
Yeah, okay. Can I look at it? Can you open it? I'm not familiar with that one. Is it fairly smooth or has it got a texture?
It's fairly smooth.
Okay. So it should be cold press. So do you all have some sort of watercolor paper?
Yeah, acid-free cold press heavyweight.
Yep, yep. These are okay. These are pretty good. These are good places to start. Nice. Okay. So if you would, over the week, homework. You don't have to do this as homework, but I would recommend on the palette, please, is we're going to practice. Remember the sheet I showed you, and I'm going to send you that. The flat wash, the graded wash, the wet and wet. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I could bring that up now, but it's going to be another whole process. So we're just going to take some paint. I'm going to take a green. I don't know why. I don't use green very much. It is so easy to mix greens from blue and yellow. I don't even know why they put green in your palette. So a flat wash, is that a good spot? Yeah. So if you see me, I dampened my brush, not too wet. I worked it into the paint a little bit, a few times. to make sure it's evenly coating my brush. If you're not sure, you can pick some up, and I want to make sure my palette, and mix it into the palette here to make sure it's even. See how it's kind of even color? You can't really see. I work it around a little bit. You don't want to work it too much, but you want to work it some. It's feeling a little dry. So I'm just going to touch my brush to the water just to pick up a little more water, not too much. Then I'm going to come to my paper and just make a flat wash. And flat wash is basically trying to make it as even as possible. Try not to overwork your watercolor. You can see it's a little heavier in spots than in others. So that's a flat wash. Then I go to my dirty water, clean that off, dry it. I'm just going to touch it to there. That removes a lot of the water, but it's funny because I'm going to pick up a little more water on the tip.
Terry Lynn, what did you refer, when you said don't overwork it for that? What does that mean exactly in terms of for this purpose?
You can dull the color. If you sit and mix this around too much, too long, it starts to dull the color. You want it evenly in your brush, but you don't want to overwork it so it loses its luminosity.
Okay.
So this time with that green, I'm going to put some at the top here, quite a bit. I'm going to lightly pick up some more water. Clean, pick up some more water. So now I've got kind of a graded wash. I mean, that's not perfect, but you get the idea. It goes from, if you have this on a board, you can tilt it up. I taped it to the table so I can't tilt it. I'm getting feedback on somebody's computer. Does that make sense? Anyone have a question about it as we're going along? No.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question. So which brush are you using?
I'm sorry?
Which brush are you using?
Right now, I am just using this one because as far as I know, the two brushes you have are these. This is not a good one for a wash. This is not a great one for a wash either, but this is just for textures.
What's the size of the little one?
What's the what?
Size.
This one does not say size.
What do you recommend?
One that's about this size.
Okay.
This like a smart aleck teacher, huh?
I know, right? I don't remember brush sizes.
It's okay. I'm an ODE teacher.
Yeah. About the size of a pencil head, something like that. The nice thing about these bamboo brushes is that they get fatter here and they get very nice and fine at the tip. That didn't help you really. I didn't answer your question, right?
Oh, I forgot. No, I forgot you were using bamboo. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, they come in different sizes too. But
when you, Terry Lynn, when you brush, can you just talk a little bit more about your technique? Do you flatten the head of the brush? Do you, you paint from the point? I'm not quite getting that.
Right. It doesn't really matter too much. I'll pick up the paint. I'll get it into the brush. Good question. If it's a flat wash, I am going to lay this down on the paper. Kind of like this. See how I'm using most of the brush that way?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of laying it on. If I want to do details, of course, I would clean that up and then I would come up to the tip of the brush. And the nice thing about this is you can go from a fine thing, push it down. I'm pressing down now. And that's where you get your calligraphy and sumi brush people. I mean, look, that almost looks like a bird. Just by a stroke of the brush, light, press it down. Did that show quite well on the camera?
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering if it might be easier to do it when it's flat and then hold it up as opposed to at an angle to make the mark.
I don't know if you can see it when I do it, if I go this way, because I think if I
Can you tell me why they're called, what makes it a bamboo brush?
I don't know, I just call them that, or it's a calligraphy or a sumi brush. Usually these handles are made out of bamboo.
Yeah,
This one doesn't happen to be.
mine's too big.
I'm in the habit of calling a bamboo brush.
I don't like my brush because it's
I
not
don't like
doing-
mine either. It's
It's
too
not
big.
doing what you're doing because this right here, it's not doing what it's supposed to. It's not doing what you're showing.
Yeah, mine's the same way. It's too big.
It's like so fat, and then like
Yeah.
the strands of it are like coming off.
Yeah, me too.
I don't get it. It's
the quality of the brush. All the brushes are different types, different.
well, this is crap then.
Tell us how
Sorry.
you really feel, Amanda.
I'm such a brash person. Everybody knows.
No, I understand. Oh, I gotta move in here.
I'm going back to Cheap Joe's for a new brush.
I have this one.
Yeah, I should have gone
But
there
this
first.
is too big.
Yeah,
Where did you go to
doing-
get it?
about pencil size. This one, see how this is made with the bamboo and stuff? And this one I use for cleaning things up. I don't like this. I love this one, but I don't like this one.
Okay.
And I was trying to be simple when we started this, so as you learn as you
Let
go.
me take a
along.
picture of that. Can I take a picture of that one? Yeah,
Well, it's going to be on the,
I
You know,
got
I
it.
got about 600 brushes, but when I was at Michael's yesterday, I didn't see anywhere where it differentiated bamboo from the other 5,000 brushes they
yeah,
had.
or Chinese or sumi brush or something. Here, what if you can do this when you go into the store? I almost do not buy a brush unless I can do this with a brush. Ask them for a little cup of water.
We can't see that. Oh, okay.
No, I'm just cleaning it. Get the little cup of water, wet the brush, and tap it either on your finger or on the side of the cup. If it comes to a nice point, chances are it's a good brush. If I do that with this one, and I tap it, look at that. It
Yeah.
doesn't hold its shape, and it's not pointing. It's not pointing, and it's almost too soft. See, I can't control it. It won't do what I want it. And that's what you're finding on some of your brushes, I think. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm finding in mine.
And I wish I could recommend an absolute brand. When I found this one, I bought a number of them. And since I bought these, I have not been able to find this brand again.
Oh.
And it's very frustrating, but that is my recommendation. Get that little cup of water and sit there and see if they will let you do that. Usually, sometimes they have covers on them. So just check, ask if you can take that cover off and try it out.
The ones you had in your picture had these little, I'm holding mine up. I bought these in China, actually.
You're not on my screen. Yeah, see, you bought them in China. Let's see, where are you?
In the red.
Okay, yep. Oh, Pam highlighted you. Thank you.
So
can I see the tips though? I don't care about that. And so sorry.
They're very little. I mean, yours had those little circle things at the end, but these are itty bitty.
I can't see them.
I know, I'm bringing them over.
Yeah. See, because you bought those in China and they know what to do with these. These are beautiful and they're tricky sometimes. You're so lucky to have those. Can I have them?
If you're a good girl. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So Terry Lynn, where would you recommend they go to be able to find if their brush isn't appropriate for what they have now? Should they go to a Cheap Joe's? Should they?
Cheap Joe should have it. I should go down and check there. I'm not sure. Does Michael's? Somebody went to Michael's. Do they have brushes similar to this?
I went to Michael's and I looked at all their brushes, but I didn't see anything that differentiated. I mean, they had levels, like their low level and their higher level. I looked under the watercolor brushes and you could actually touch them. They weren't behind glass. And I didn't see anything that looked with the bamboo holder, you know, a bamboo.
Again, it doesn't have to be bamboo. I just kind of refer to it that way. This
Oh.
is what we're looking for here.
I didn't see anything like that there, but you also mentioned to me, which people ought to know, that if you think if we show them that we're taking this class from you at Cheap Joe's, that we would get the discount that they give to students?
Yeah.
Tell them you're a student. You are a student. You're in a class.
Yeah, tell them you're a student purple crayon. Nancy is holding up what they have. And how are those
Those
working?
are nice. Are those nice, Nancy? Those look really nice.
They're nice. There were 3 of them. I got them through Amazon. And I think for the 3, they're only like $5 or some ridiculous amount. They were really inexpensive.
Yeah, yes, and I think, did I not send a link
Yes.
to them? Yeah, that's what we had recommended, I think.
Was that the link you sent out, Pam?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
I'd like to check that. I'll try to, I gotta write that down, so I remember to do it. Check that link.
Okay, and Donna, it looks like you have what you need. Is that yours working fine?
Yes, I have to practice.
Okay, but your brush itself seems to be okay? Good.
Could you show again the graded wash? I struggle so much with that.
Yep. Okay, good on the brush, I guess, for now. So pick up some paint, get a good amount of paint. I'll do it larger. Get some nice paint in there. See how I'm laying that brush down and it's even? Then I'm cleaning out some of that because I want, now there's just clear water in my brush at this point. And I'm just going to put that under here. And if the paper's fairly decent, you should get a graded wash. See how it gets lighter as you go down?
Did that help, Donna? Yeah, good. Okay.
Okay. Now, oftentimes, if you have a pad of paper, watercolor paper like this, at that point, you could tip this up and just gently, at a slight angle, let that drain down. I've taped this to the table, so I can't pick it up. I also have acrylic sheets that sometimes I'll tape my watercolor paper to, but when I use it on Zoom, it reflects, the plastic reflects back, so I can't use it on Zoom.
So I just want to make sure before we keep going, does everyone who's had problems or questions about their brush know what they're going to do next to try to find a better one? Or does anyone need any additional guidance on that?
Yeah, if you're on that Amazon Prime, I would highly probably recommend, I can't touch it, but I'm going to try one of those that Nancy had. 3 brushes for that. They look really good.
Corrected. They were $6.99, not 3.
I mean, there were 3 brushes and you $6.90. $6.99.
$33. Yeah, that's still.
I want to buy those and try them to see if that's one I can absolutely recommend. Does it handle well?
Yes, it has a nice weight. You know, it's evenly weighted. Well, for me, it is.
Yeah. Can you do like the little bird kind of shape thing with it?
I haven't
Like
tried that.
up on your tip
I haven't tried
and
that.
press it down.
Can you try that?
And that's what some of you are finding, like with the brush like this. If I can do it here. I mean, even with my experience.
I'm using the brush that came with the set.
It just really won't. Oh, this like a little brush, like, sorry.
It works better than this big bamboo brush right now till I get my new brush. Yeah.
Use what works, Donna. Excellent.
And it's a bargain.
Yeah.
With
They
the
threw
set.
it in.
Can't beat that.
I have a question about the brushes, Miss Colleen. You know, the ones that I bought in China, the whole brush part is firm. So like I can't, whoops, it's firm. So even when I put it in water, it's like stiff like a rock. Now, is that okay for me to?
Oh, they have to break it up.
It's okay to
Did
do
you
that.
get this?
What?
Did you get the sizing off from it? Brushes usually come, I didn't mention that, but they usually come with sizing on them, like a starch. And you have to gently wash that out of the brush.
All right, that's probably it.
Yeah, I think it's got some like starch in there.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes left. Terry Lynn, how would you like to use that time?
Let me, I'm going to send you the sheet. Let me just quickly show you a couple other techniques. I'm going to take some of this yellow. This I'm going to do like wet in wet. So just play this week. If you have a chance, I hope you have a chance. Just play. Notice I cleaned the brush, and wet in wet is just dropping it in. See how it bleeds out? That creates some really fun techniques. And I'm looking at a couple others. I'm going to try blue again. Now, this is my ultramarine blue. I've laid it in there. I can take my spray bottle. I always check it off to the side to see what the spray is going to look like when it comes out. And then I'm just going to drop in some water and see how that is pushing the paint away and is creating a texture. Now, I'm not telling you have to do this, but a nice cool thing with that is I also have a spray bottle of isopropyl alcohol, and you can do, and it makes even a little different texture. If you want to try the salt, do a flat wash, drop in some of your, you have to wait for it to lose its sheen. You kind of look at the paper sideways. This is still kind of shiny, so if I put the salt on there now, it's not going to work. It has to be matte, not dry. It has to be between shiny and between wet, so it needs to be that matte finish. And then you drop a little salt on and you leave it alone. And as the paint dries, it creates almost like a snowflake texture. So that's fun to work with too. So any questions? Again, I will send you those. I'm going to send you the lines and shape sheet, the watercolor techniques that has some of these approaches here that you can practice. Do practice drawing your sketches of the pets just to get your hand going. You can try yours. You can try the ones that I have sent you. I can send you more. Next week, we'll try a sketch, and then we'll play around with some of these watercolor techniques. Any questions?
Yes, Miss Georgia.
So Karen,
gallery. Just Pam, can we go to gallery, please?
Oh, yeah, yes, but Georgia was asking a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Georgia.
So like care and keeping of the paints, do we need to do anything special once we're done, or do we just close the thing and let it dry?
You leave them open and let them dry.
Okay.
Now, if you have a cat, this is what if you have one like a little case like this, like mine here, can you see? Just leave it, because I got paint in there, but that, don't close it all the way, let it dry out, because with these type of paints, and like with Colleen's that are in the tube, you can they will dry out and then you can wet them again. Just kind of put something over the top so the cat doesn't walk across them. Otherwise you'll have pretty prints everywhere.
Any other questions before we wrap it up?
No, that was really good, Terry Lynn. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it's a good start.
I think so.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will be, Terry Lynn she and I will chat after this, and we'll get together what we need to send to you. We'll be sending that on to you. Hopefully you can practice in between now and next week. And I'll also send about a day before the class, I'll send a reminder with the same, it'll be the same URL link to the classroom, but just so you don't have to worry about finding it and digging through your emails to find it.
That's appreciated very much.
Yeah, and just before, Colleen, before you get off, can you stay on for 1 second? I just need to find your email, get the email address for you, but not everything else needs to stay on.
Yeah, and I do want to ask Terry Lynn, and it can be after we get off. I can't seem to get this plasticky or whatever it is off of these Japanese or Chinese brushes. So maybe you can tell me how.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll
we can
handle
check
that
that.
in just a minute.
Everyone, if, nope, just totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Your moment?
Yes.
Okay, well, if you remember, we'll put it in the email.
Put it in the email.
Later.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so
Oh,
much.
Thank you.
I know what it is. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Wait, she remembered.
Do you all know how to take pictures of your work on
Oh.
your camera or something, on your phone? And send them in an email or something else? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody should, right? And then next week I might introduce the Padlet. I can send the Padlet link and instructions for anybody who wants to try it, but it's easier if I just show you how to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, ladies, have a wonderful week.
Thank
Stay safe,
you.
keep up snow, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Great job.
Okay, so I stopped the recording. So Colleen, before I forget, which email address is correct? Because you have two.
Well, I don't know what ones you have. Can you tell me what you have?
Yes, so the only difference is one has an AVL at the end. One is CAFINEGAN